My name is Emily Carter, and I am 20 years old. But when I tell you my story, you're not going to look at me the same way again. Some people call me a victim, others say I ruined a man's life. All I know is that I'm a mother now, and the father of my baby used to be my high school teacher. It sounds like something out of a scandalous movie, right? But for me, it was real. It was messy. And it changed everything. Back when it all started, I was just 17. A senior in high school, living in a small Ohio town where everyone knew everyone else's business. My mom worked 2 jobs just to keep us afloat, and my dad had left us when I was 9. I was a quiet kid, the kind who sat in the back of the class with her head in a book. I wanted more out of life, but I had no idea how to get it. Then came him. Callahan. He was 32, my English teacher, and the kind of man who carried himself like he knew the world was heavier than it looked. His dark hair always looked a little messy, and his brown eyes had this depth that made you want to stare too long. Most kids thought he was boring, but I hung on to every word he said. He talked about literature like it wasn't just homework, like it was a doorway into understanding life itself. The first time I realized he looked at me differently was after class one day. I had stayed behind to ask him about an essay. He leaned against his desk, arms folded, studying me like I wasn't just another teenager. "You write like you've lived twice as long as you have," he said quietly. "It's rare. Don't lose it." That one sentence stayed with me. At first, it was harmless, little conversations about books, small notes he scribbled on my papers, encouraging me to write more. But then it became emails. Long ones, late at night. He'd ask about my dreams, my fears, what I wanted after graduation. And I told him everything, about how lonely I felt at home, how I hated my town, how scared I was of ending up stuck. And he listened. He always listened. One night he emailed me, "Do you ever feel like nobody really understands you?" I wrote back, "All the time." That's when the line between teacher and student disappeared. The first time we crossed it was on a rainy afternoon. I had stayed late at school to finish my college applications. The storm was so bad that buses were canceled, and I didn't have a ride home. Callahan offered to wait with me in his classroom. We sat there, rain pounding against the windows, the air buzzing with something unspoken. I was shivering, and he draped his jacket over my shoulders. I'll never forget how it smelled, coffee and old books. "You deserve better than this place," he said, almost under his breath. And then he kissed me. I should have pulled away. I should have run. But instead, I let it happen. Because for the first time in my life, I felt wanted. I felt seen. The months that followed were a blur of stolen moments. Meeting in his classroom after school. Long drives where no one knew us. Once, even a motel in the next town over. He told me he loved me, and I believed him. I told myself it wasn't wrong because I was mature for my age and turning 18 soon. But lies have a way of catching up with you. By spring, I started feeling sick every morning. At first, I thought it was stress. But then my period didn't come. The truth hit me in the bathroom, staring at 2 pink lines on a pregnancy test. I was pregnant. Remember my hands shaking, my stomach twisting, tears rolling down my face. I was only 17, and my life felt like it was over. When I told Mr. Callahan, he went pale. He paced the room, running his hands through his hair. "This can't be happening," he muttered over and over. "Emily, this can't." But it was. He begged me not to tell anyone. They'll destroy me, he said. My job, my career, everything I'd worked for. We just have to be careful. We'll figure it out, together. Together. That word broke me, because I could already feel him pulling away. By the time graduation came, I couldn't hide it anymore. My mom found out first. Then the whispers at school started. And when the truth finally got out, who the father was, everything exploded. The principal held an emergency meeting. Parents stormed the school. Callahan was escorted out, his career shattered in one night. And me? I was branded. The girl who slept with her teacher. The girl who ruined a man's life. No one cared that I was just a scared teenager about to have a baby. Now, 3 years later, I sit in my small apartment rocking my daughter to sleep. Her tiny breasts rise and fall against my chest, and sometimes I wonder how I'll ever explain it all to her. She didn't ask for any of this. She's innocent. She's mine. And no matter what the world thinks of me, I'll fight to give her the life she deserves. Because if there's one thing I've learned, it's this: secrets can destroy you, but love, real love, has the power to save you. And I'll spend the rest of my life proving that to her. After the truth came out, my world crumbled piece by piece. The police were called. There was an investigation. Callahan was charged, and suddenly our secret wasn't ours anymore. It was splashed across every local newspaper headline. High school teacher accused of relationship with student. Reporters camped outside the school. Parents pulled their kids out of class. And me? I couldn't even walk down the hallway without whispers and stares burning into my back. Some people called me a victim. Others called me a liar who trapped him. Either way, I was the center of a scandal I never wanted. At home, my mom was furious. Not just angry, broken. She yelled, cried, slammed doors, demanded answers I didn't know how to give. How could you let this happen, Emily? She sobbed one night, clutching her head in her hands. He was your teacher. He was supposed to protect you. But she didn't understand. Nobody did. To them, it was simple: a man abused his power. To me, it had been love. Or at least, what I thought was love. The trial dragged on for months. I was called to testify, sitting in that cold courtroom with every eye on me. Callahan sat just a few feet away, his face pale, his eyes hollow. He didn't look at me once. The prosecutor painted him as a manipulative predator. The defense tried to twist me into a willing accomplice. Both versions of me felt like strangers. When it was over, he was sentenced. Not for life, but enough years to strip away his career, his freedom, his future. As they led him away in handcuffs, I felt something tear inside me. I didn't know if it was grief, or guilt, or just the death of the illusion I had been clinging to. By the time my daughter was born, I had no friends left. People my age didn't know how to deal with me. Parents warned their kids to stay away. At school, I was the girl from that scandal. At the grocery store, I was the teenager with the baby and the shame written all over her face. But when they placed that tiny, crying bundle in my arms, the world stopped. Her skin was soft and pink, her fists curled like little shells. And when her eyes opened for the first time, I felt something so powerful it made everything else fade away. She was mine. My reason to keep going. I named her Lily. Raising Lily wasn't easy. My mom helped at first, but she was exhausted, working double shifts just to keep food on the table. Most nights, it was just me and Lily, her cries filling the darkness, my body aching with sleeplessness. I remember sitting on the kitchen floor at 3 in the morning, rocking her against my chest, tears streaming down my face as I whispered, "I'm sorry, baby. I don't know what I'm doing." But somehow, we survived. I got my GED while Lily napped. I worked part-time at a diner, saving every dollar I could. Every rude stare, every whispered insult, every slammed door, I pushed through it because of her. Still, the shadow of Mr. Callahan never really left. Some nights, I'd wonder if he thought about Lily. If he imagined what color her hair was, or whether she had his eyes. I hated myself for wondering. I hated myself for still caring. But love, even when it's broken, doesn't just vanish. And deep down, I knew one day I'd have to face him again. That day came 3 years later. I had just turned 20. Lily was 2.5, full of energy, with curls that bounced when she laughed. I had started taking community college classes, trying to build a future that didn't revolve around shame. Then one afternoon, my phone buzzed. An email. From a name I hadn't seen in years. Michael Callahan. I stared at the screen for what felt like hours before opening it. Emily. I don't know if you'll ever forgive me for everything. Maybe you shouldn't. But I need to see her. I need to see my daughter at least once. Please. My hand shook so badly I almost dropped the phone. He was out. For days, I couldn't think straight. Every time Lily laughed, I wondered if I was selfish for keeping her father away. Every time I looked at her, I saw pieces of him, the curve of her mouth, the deep brown of her eyes. Part of me wanted to delete the email, to erase him from our lives forever. But another part, the part that remembered late nights in his classroom, whispered promises, the feeling of being seen, whispered back, he's still her father. After a week, I wrote back. One meeting. Public place. If you say anything inappropriate or try anything, it's over. He agreed. We met at a quiet park on a cloudy afternoon. My heart raced as I saw him walking toward us. He looked older, thinner, his once dark hair streaked with gray. Prison had changed him. When his eyes landed on Lily, his face crumbled. God, he whispered, sinking to his knees in front of her. She's beautiful. Lily clung to my leg, shy, staring at this strange man with eyes so much like her own. I'm your daddy, he said softly, tears spilling down his cheeks. I've missed so much. I'm so sorry. I stood frozen, my heart twisting in ways I couldn't explain. This was the man who had loved me. This was the man who had destroyed me. And now, he was the man begging for a place in our daughter's life. That night, after I put Lily to bed, I sat alone in the dark, replaying it all in my head. His tears. His words. The way Lily had clung to me, confused, innocent. Was I supposed to forgive him? To let him in? Or was it my job to protect her from the past, from him? I didn't have the answers. All I knew was that our story wasn't finished. And no matter what happened next, the secret that had once destroyed me would always live on in the eyes of my little girl.